All right, we'll call the November 6th highway meeting to order at 8:26. Roll call. Everyone's here except for Gary York, which had another meeting. Approval of minutes from the October 9th.
Make motion to approve minutes.
I'll second. Motion made second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Nothing to me. Public comment, nothing to me.
Nothing.
On to you, I guess.
Well, I'll turn it over to Brent and Dan to just kind of let you know what's happening on field and shot side.
All right, well, I'm sure Dustin will get into what I'm gonna start with here. We did do Old E. We finished that up. We got that pulverized. We got it all paved, shouldered, seeded, mulched. Everything is good to go. We ran that new pipe down there in the waterway. We had to remove the guardrail, put that new pipe in. Put some 4 to 6 in there for a waterway to get down there and keep it away from those two houses. That is all complete. The guardrail is back up out there. And everything is good to go. I don't know if are we gonna line that or not, or are we gonna paint lines or not on that? Okay. So I guess the rest is up to Dustin, and I think that's part of the reason why the meeting is a week early. I'm not sure. Also, we have guardrail crews out there working. We have stuff on the interstate. We have stuff on other state roads and county roads they have to repair that we had not been able to get to over the summer, being we were busy paving and doing other road construction work. We're working on that. Currently, they're out in the town of Springbrook, putting guardrail up for them today. They had hired us to do a job down there just past Holy. We're also crack filling today in the town of Red Cedar. We were hoping to be done with that Monday and Tuesday, but obviously it rained. So we're hoping to finish that up today and tomorrow. And then we will be, obviously with the weather and the temperatures, hoping to do some work on 170 next week for crack filling. From D to Colfax. We have been crushing out at the Slobotnik's been crushing out at the Fender pit, so we have been hauling rock into our shops. We needed to get that rock hauled because we need to turn our trucks into plow trucks. So pretty much all the rock to the town or to our outline shops have been hauled. And most of the trucks have got sanders on and all the plow mounts and everything. Most of them are all done except for about 5 or 6, and they should be done by the end of the week. I'm sure Dan will get into that too. We are hauling a little salt sand from our shop to a couple towns today. And we're also doing some maintenance on some bridges on the state today and throughout the fall. We'll be doing some bridge maintenance on some bridges, just minor stuff. Wing walls, corners, washouts, adding riprap on the ends of the aprons, cleaning them out.
They doing the guardrail up on D up by Jake's?
Eventually, yes, they're gonna repair that. We had talked to Dustin about that, wanted to know what changes were gonna be made, but we're gonna put that back up and make sure that's done for the winter.
Yeah.
We're not gonna change anything on it.
Just curious.
And town of Lucas, we did put I suppose we were about 20 feet deep. We had to put a culvert in out there for him that was failing. The road kept sinking away, so we closed that down for a couple days. I'd tear down the guardrail, put the pipe in, put the guardrail back up, and then that box culvert we did earlier, we got all that guardrail up out there last week also. So I'm trying to get some odds and ends and patching, and we'll be doing some brushing. We're doing some brush mowing on some of the state roads that he's allowing us to do. So a lot of odds and ends, a lot of small stuff just to catch up before the snow flies. So honestly, I think we're sitting pretty good. I think we're sitting pretty good with Dan. I mean, I know we were worried about getting the trucks ready, but I wanted to get rock hauled and we made it work. So I don't know if you guys have any questions, or Dustin, do you have any questions?
I have.
I'd say Slobodnik should be, they got about 8 to 9,000 ton left to crush. And I think we're done out there from the sounds of it this morning, right?
How many, like, how long does it take to crush a ton?
Oh, God, well, they've been out there 2 weeks and they've got about 55,000 crushed.
On average,
Roughly.
5,000 a day.
Okay. So a couple, 3 days, probably.
That's
Yeah.
it, a day now.
Okay.
The question for you, Brent. Are you doing anything where it's snow fence or following any of that on feet, like going north? Like along Craft Mills Field or?
Last year we did not put any snow fence up. Usually we go out there and they let us go out there and make windrows.
Yep.
We have put snow fence up, but it was sometimes it can be kind of a headache.
That's what I, yeah, that's what I would. I
Yeah,
just didn't know if they were planning to plow, because last year obviously wasn't too bad, but
right.
it blows across there like
It does.
crazy and it blows right to it. When I have to do.
Normally, they let us go out there with a grader and make windrows, and then that helps.
Okay.
We have talked to the guys about leaving corn up. I don't think there's corn there this year.
No.
So, but not a lot of farmers like to do that because they like to take their crops and get their money for it. So, and
I mean, just even plowing that down.
yes, it does. And we do that. We talk to the farmers, we talk to the landowners, and they usually let us on. So
Do you have to go out there in the spring then and fix it? Or are they
Normally,
just-
it's
are
not-
they just able to,
yeah, normally it's not too bad.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they windrow the snow.
Yeah, when
Gotcha.
you know,
Oh, I thought you
Yeah.
were
No.
windrowing the dirt.
no. They do catch a little bit of dirt at times, but it's really not
He's
bad.
just free frozen.
So we usually
Yeah.
talk to those guys and they're usually pretty good about it. But yes, we will do that. Any other questions? All the mowing should be done and we are currently doing some more up north, trying to catch some of the fall stuff, but Ogie Alley finally got done. So. Go ahead, Dan.
Well, been busy in the shop. Doing a lot of maintenance on it and stuff, and Brent cut the bags with Lucy here last week, which was, I was getting a little nervous. We have, about, well, I don't know, 12 or 15 triaxles to get done. Guys are about halfway through them right now, which is good. We're sitting in pretty good shape. We still have, 5 spare trucks we have to go through yet. So, but total, we have 33 plow trucks, so we're about halfway of everything. There's 10 state trucks, or excuse me, 10 of our trucks that are on state routes, they're not state truck. We did go through and, for the winter readiness on them, calibrated all of them, made sure all the controllers worked correctly, and they're, submitting the information to the state, so we can get their winter readiness money. And it's a pretty good amount of change, and that helps us pay for, the special controllers and the speed sensors and all that kind of stuff that they want to have. So I think Dustin was gonna submit that, so we get that money paid. We are starting to work on calibrating our loader scales. We did get about 3 of them done. We still have 6 left to go, to make sure they're working properly for the winter months. We did receive the fuel tanks and the pumps for all line shops, fuel systems. We have some plumbing left that needs to be here, and then we have to do a little assembly as far as the pumps and the tanks and stuff, and then take them off the outline shops and install them. That's looks good so far. Tony and Corey have been working on the new trucks yet, but now I kind of got them put a plow equipment on. And this, they're coming along, or the one's coming along real good and the second one will go a lot faster, so. I still expect to see them, you know, hopefully maybe towards the end of December. Get them out and get them. Of course, one of them's still doing another one. Two other trucks did show up at International out of the gate, so we're still missing two, but doesn't really matter a lot because Universal can't schedule them in until early spring, you know, May, something like that, so they're gonna be lost for the whole year, which is kind of saddening. I guess other than that, that's about all we've been doing, just regular maintenance on that. So it's been going well. Haven't had any major breakdowns, so that's good. Yeah,
So other than everything already being universal and stuff like that, that's the main reason I keep going back to them, correct?
one of the main reasons, you know, to keep uniformity, they're really good to work with. They have really great workmanship. That's probably one of the reasons why they're so busy. You know, and they're in the area, you know, as far as us taking stuff. There's not a lot of, you know, outfitters out there in this area, you know. There's a few. But uniformity is, like I said, a really big thing. You know, because you have to stock a lot of product. You know, a lot of cylinders, a lot of blades. There's a tremendous amount of things. And you have to stock, though, because of something great, you can't really get one. A lot of times you don't even stock them. And then that makes it too for our mechanics when something goes wrong, they know exactly what they need. It's just a better all around fit.
And then we've taken our trucks to other outfitters, and when they come back, we end up having to do more work on them just to fix what they did.
It's worth a year way to losing a year or two on a truck. To go with that.
Pretty much all the rest of the outfitters are that busy.
They all have delays currently.
But I think what's happened, a lot of it, the trucks didn't come in for so long and they were really slow, and all of a sudden, boom, you know, all the
Yeah.
trucks are coming in and they had boom fast, you know, that really got things delayed. And that's why one of the reasons too, that we're building two of our own, because we wouldn't see them anywhere. And, you know, we have the capability, so. I think it works out pretty well. And it's nice if the guys do work on them that way. I mean, they get more familiar with something. You know, if you know how something works, you can fix it. You know, and if somebody else builds it, you're more after not knowing what they did or how it works or anything else. So there's, you know, along with that is a lot of, you know, educational part to it, which is really helpful. One of our, you know, mechanics that was one of our long-term ones, you know, went somewhere else. So that really hurts because all his knowledge and stuff goes with him, you know, and that, it takes a lot of knowledge when you're working on a plow truck and a very sophisticated piece of equipment, all of our equipment. So it's helpful. It really is that way, you know, too.
I would say I know I lost a good guy out of the shop, but that new guy you hired, I think, is very, very.
Oh, yeah, he is. I'm not saying anything against him. No, I'm not saying, no, he is.
I want to let you
Great job.
guys know that that new hire out there.
You can't replace 1 year to now.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying
Yeah.
to say. Not, no, he does Corey is doing a great job. Really. And Tony, all the guys out there do a good job.
Very impressed with that
You know,
guy.
yeah, yeah,
He's coming in and going.
right. You know,
That's good to hear.
He's built.
It's hard to find somebody to jump in and fit in and figure it out.
yeah, we were really fortunate this time. We had a couple of good applicants, way a lot of applicants, but a couple outstanding, so that's nice. Yeah, I don't think there's any questions.
Just hope the snow stays away a while yet, so you can get where you want to get without heavy level of stress and the equipment.
The main thing is we've got all the state route trucks are all ready to rock and roll, so that's,
I think we're in good shape. I really do.
yeah, if it snowed now, we'd be maybe rushing just a little bit, but not bad.
We all know that first time out, there's always gonna be something. They've all been out, they've ran them, they've went through them. You know, I gave them a day to go out, take their trucks out, like the state guys, throw some material in, run your stuff, make sure everything's right, good. You know, if you don't, we don't give them that time. Then you catch flack for not, geez, you didn't give us any time to check our trucks out. But no, but there will always be something. It's all the way it works.
There's so many things that can go wrong. But you try to fix what you can and what you see, and once you get them out there, we'll know for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you have anything? I see they did get double B painted up there. The lines are painted. We came through that yesterday on the way home from our meeting. That looked good.
It did.
Everything looks good up there.
All shouldered and looks nice.
So
Yep, summer season's wrapping up and in the winter.
winter.
It's good.
Sound good.
All right.
Thank you guys. I'm gonna get work done.
Yeah, yeah, just to let you know, the assistant commissioner position has been filled. So Brittany Stelter has been hired to fill that position. She comes over from Eau Claire County, from their highway department, as her position there is an engineering technician. Yeah, she starts next week, Monday.
Is that a holiday? Is that a holiday?
Yeah, Veterans Day.
Sure. Starts next week. How about that?
It's not a count.
Isn't it?
Used to be they traded it.
God, most of the counties have heard of
I
that.
didn't have one anyway.
Yeah, I think we took
Friday between.
Thanks, you got the day after Thanksgiving.
Yeah. They traded it for deer hunting week. Can you imagine that?
Mm-hmm.
Don't be cool.
Yeah, look, you should just get that out anyways. That week.
The whole month of November. Cut her down.
Yeah.
Yeah, looking forward to her starting and getting her in tune with how Dunn County Highway Department works. Any questions before I go into the engineering projects?
I'm gonna head out.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Yep. Thank you guys. Have a good one.
I'd like to hang around a little bit if you don't mind. Something like that. I've got some information for you on warranty stuff if you want to follow.
Perfect.
Have a good one.
Yeah, so we'll go through just the project updates. So the south project, which is from 1229 to I-94 and County Road B, it's basically officially completed. They opened up the road to traffic on October 30th. There is some minor work that needs to be done, just the pavement markings, they are complete now. Joint sealing, all that stuff is done. We did a project walkthrough last week, so there is some punch list items that need to be made by the contractor prior to official closeout. We may have to monitor some of the restoration work, obviously such late season to try to get grass to grow. Obviously, we need that to grow before the DOT will sign off on it, so it might have to look at next spring and see what it looks like. Pretty much the same thing on the, go ahead.
Compliment on that project, ran into 4 or 5 people actually yesterday. And, we were just talking and they were talking very highly of the flow and vision and safety improvements that has happened in that project. They were really happy with how all that shook down and
I know a lot of people are excited there's a right turn lane going towards
Yeah.
Quick Trip now.
yeah.
Everybody's excited about that, so.
You mean, oh, yeah, well, and even a left,
Yes,
right?
correct.
And going towards Lowe's and stuff, yeah, that's.
Yep.
Huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice safety improvements. That was the whole goal on this, was to improve the overall safety because obviously that's a concern and we have to try to improve on that. Hopefully this road will last my career and beyond, where we don't have to worry about it.
It'd be nice if it
Again.
was up to that next road. past,
Oh, north of Double B,
yeah,
essentially.
I know, I'm just like, it's already like,
It
almost behind already, cause it's,
that all comes down to county funding.
no, I get it, I'm just saying, like.
No.
Be only that part of it.
Yep. But pretty much the same thing on the north project, from I-94 to Packard Drive. Like I said, that is open. Obviously, the big improvement there was, traffic signals at, Badger Drive, which is by Love's and Senex, just by the railroad tracks. That's been a very positive thing now that it's opened up and everything's working like it should. Obviously, there's a few punch list items. We did have 5 panels that are northbound that did crack where they weren't supposed to crack. So those, the contractor is replacing. They supposedly were gonna do it this week. Don't know if that's happening. I have not been through there. But same thing, we'll have to monitor the restoration, in the spring. There's kind of the finalized, picture of the B project, south of the interstate. Like I said, everything looks good. There's the north project. Any questions on the B projects? Otherwise, we'll go into other projects. So, like Brent mentioned, we wrapped up our County Road B project, double B project up by, Sheridan. That is complete, officially open to traffic. Everything looks good on there. Colfax salt shed, I did mention that, last month that has been completed. It is full of salt already, so there's capacity of about 1,000 tons. So there's 1,000 tons of salt sitting in that shed right now. And then last but not least, our old E project. Total project cost, was approximately $71,000. There was some additional costs that are not in here, just like minor restoration, seeding work and stuff like that. So very minimal costs on top of that. Under the estimated cost of what I originally estimated, I believe it was about 85,000 is what I was estimating, so it's always good. And Town of Springbrook is very excited about it. They thought it did look really good, and that's the big reason why we're here today, so we can turn that road over to them. So
I did drive down the other day and thought it looked really nice. And very glad that we're moving it out of them.
as well. It's a road to nowhere. It serves no purpose.
Yeah, I could barely, I had my motorcycle, I could barely turn around at the end of it. It seemed like I can see why these guys did not want to try and turn around with our plow trucks.
Yeah, try to get a triaxle down there. It's exciting. Any questions with our, projects? Otherwise, I'll go into my 2023 annual report. It's kind of weird why we're talking about 2023 when we're almost into 25. But this will be presented at the, county board meeting on the 12th. So I just put it in here in my slideshow. I don't have it in your packet because I will be providing it at the county board. I don't want to make, it's a book basically, and it takes time. So I don't know if we want to go into it in detail, but, obviously just, this is our staff. 51 full-time employees, just highway staff, not including our finance, staff. There's 3 employees that are dedicated to highway financials. That's 3 full-time, employees in the finance department. Just to give you kind of an overview of what we do at the highway department. We plow 425 miles of roads. We maintain 425 centerline miles. I'll tell you that constantly. It will be less, obviously, if we turn over an old E, it'll be roughly 0.56 miles less.
That makes a difference.
So We'll be in the 424 miles. Exciting. But that's obviously, one big thing that I always want to mention is we're the only state that we contract with the DOT to perform all their maintenance, not all the maintenance, but majority of the maintenance, routine maintenance. So that takes on another additional, 206 center line miles that we maintain for the DOT. And then as well as work for towns and village infrastructures, we do work on request. So in 2023, we completed 13.49 miles of highways, 38,500 tons of asphalt. And if you take that into account with our 425 miles of roads, it's a 31.5 year lifespan before we will get back to that road again. If we continue that 13.49 miles every year. So the 13.49 miles, it cost us just over $5 million. That's for construction and engineering costs. There's the project list. So that was what we completed with all the costs, equipment, material, administrative, small tools, everything is included in to make that $5 million. This just goes into details of what projects, with a breakdown of what each project cost. The B project, that was for Packer Drive Double B, cost us 1.6 million, 3.3 miles. That was contracted out. Just give you a kind of a rough estimate on the lifespan of that road will be 20 to 25 years. That's what typically, or we'll have to do something to it again, either mill it is our goal, or we can do a little mill and fill, maybe take 2 inches off and relay, maybe 2.5 inches back. That's the tentative goal, but not every road can be done like that. There's quite a bit of asphalt thickness on there due to the ADT values, which is your average daily traffic. A typical highway road is usually right around 3 inches. That road has 4.5. County Road Z, that was our phase 2, $1.4 million. 3 mile stretch of road. Kind of go into detail what we all did on it. B project, that was our fourth phase, from Ridgeland to Sand Creek. I believe it was 12 miles, that entire stretch, roughly 11.6, I believe it was exactly, but we completed the last 1.6 miles of that. County Road Q and W project, 1.25 miles, that's by Downing. We completed that at 476,000. We did an overlay on County Road K from Highway 12 to 240th Street, 4.3 mile stretch. That cost us 4.6. 464,000, not 4.6. And then we did some design work for our upcoming state transportation projects, as well as a local project on County Road D and G up by Jakes and Pioneer that we're looking at trying to complete next year. There's some pictures that we did with the completed projects. Look real nice. Hard to read that, but maintenance projects, just everything that we kind of, what makes up our maintenance and what funding typically gets allocated to our maintenance. So we received $1.6 million of general transportation aid, which is gas tax that the DOT we receive annually, as well as our 2023 vehicle registration fee was $737,000. So this was the cost of maintenance. As you can see, our GTA and our vehicle registration fee doesn't even make up what our maintenance costs are. So this is a breakdown of what each category. It's not every category, but this is our big ones that we do. As you can see, majority of our cost goes towards surface maintenance, which is common pothole patching, overlays, all that good stuff. Vegetation control, that's our mowing operations, brushing, all that kind of activity. And then seal coating, which is applying a thin layer of oil and then pea gravel on top of it to help preserve and maintain the roads longer.
Shocking to me that we spend more money on litter pickup than on guardrails.
In 2023, we did. So a lot of times guardrails, their insurance covers that.
Right.
So that's if it's known. So if there's an accident, that we get a traffic accident report, the insurance will reimburse that cost. So typically that guardrail cost is cost that we had to eat.
Yeah, I had to
So-
buy some on 94 once, but, the litter pickup, it's just crazy, that number. It's like,
That's not all of it. I mean,
I'm
we
sure
we
it's
could do
not,
more. I just went down and like I said, I broke down each one of these surface maintenance, typical, like I said, an AC overlay is an 8 to 10 year lifespan. Crack sealing, 3 to 5 years, did do a crack sealing project. Seal coating, usually 6 to 8 years. Those are the project, just because it was such a large cost, I wanted to just show you which roads we did. So we did 35.88 miles. So if we have 425 miles, we should be doing at least 50 to do a kind of a 6-year rotation. So like I said, we're doing what we can. But I just want to show everybody. Pavement markings, vegetation, like I said, just give you kind of details of what it all is. I don't want to go into too much detail. Snow plowing, just obviously we have 516 miles of state roadways and 852 lane miles, what we maintain. 27 plow routes, on the county system. Or I should say, take that back, 27 total plow routes, 17 on the county and 10 on the state. So that on average, each plow route takes, is about 50 lane miles. On average, 3 to 4 hours to complete a complete rotation. So obviously that can vary depending on the snow amount totals and if it continues to keep snowing, but for us to clean it up, takes approximately 3 to 4 hours to make one round. Materials used on the roadways on the county system, we typically use salt sand. On the state system, we use rock salt. Incorporating in with both of those, we do use a brine solution, which is water and 23.3% salt solution. So it's a very, very cost-effective way to do it, but obviously salt brines do not typically work when it gets really, really cold. You gotta start throwing additives in it. When I say additives, it's beet juice, beet molasses, chlorides, magnesium, salt, mag and chloride, calcium chloride, stuff to lower that operating temperature. But I just want to make that known too, just to emphasize that not all roads are treated the same. Back in 2023, we spent $1.2 million on just winter maintenance. As you can see how that compares to previous years. I would say that was right around that average in 2023. And these numbers are based on a fiscal year, January 1st to January 1st. So just be aware, we had a mild winter this last
yeah.
in that's kind of separated in 24 and 23. So, just our material quantities that we used on the county system. I did not include the state system on there. And then as well as the salt prices of how they have increased over the years. In 2024, the cost is just over $100, 101.25, I believe it is. Is what we're paying currently in 2024. Eventually, we'll keep going higher.
Just a question on the calendar. Is that mandated by
Yes.
some bylaws or something, or state or? Statute. Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha. Just,
Now, the
I
DOT
guess the
doesn't,
way my mind's thinking is that, you know, in the environment we live in, you know, with winter being a significant, there's a significant chance that it's gonna be costly, you know. Why the winter wouldn't all be inclusive in one year instead of, like you made the comment, take into consideration that this stopped January 1st of 23 and rolled into 24, you know, so.
because
I don't know.
I believe in 23, we were out almost every day in December.
Yeah.
And that's where our large costs were. And then all of a sudden, January, February, March were mild.
Yeah.
So that's where, that was in our 2023 costs, not.
I guess where I'm going with this is that, you know, just when people look at it, when I look at this, I think of the season, the snow season, not that it ended in January. And I think that's where maybe people might get confused when they look at the numbers and not understand how it works, you know. Obviously, being here, I have a chance to understand that, you know, and
Yep.
I don't know, I'm just thinking out loud about that, and I was just curious if that calendar was a choice thing or if it was a statute, so.
Yeah, and the DOT does it differently. Their fiscal year is July 1st to July 1st. So it's all, everybody's different.
Hmm.
So statutorily, that's what we are required.
Oh.
Going into our equipment, so this is just the list of all the equipment that was purchased, obviously, your basic stuff. Pickup trucks, plow trucks, there's only one plow truck on there. Not all the plow equipment is included in that, cost there, but, everything that, we said we were gonna purchase, so. There's the fancy pictures. This is the equipment that we sold or traded. Obviously, the big thing is we sold all of our crushing equipment in 2023. So as you can see, that generated where the revenue came from cost wise there.
So far, does that seem to be a good decision?
Absolutely. Yes, me. So, and then last but not least, I just kind of threw this in there. In 2023, the state passed that municipal vehicles could utilize green lights on their equipment. So just wanted to show we implemented that in 2023. It actually passed in 22, but we didn't start implementing it on our own equipment here in 2023. So we did retrofit a number of pieces of equipment, in particular the trucks that we utilize on the state system, just for visibility. We have a lot more traffic on there just so we can be seen. So yeah, going forward, all of our trucks will have that, what we call the green and gold, Green Bay Packer colors, that we were gonna be supporting. So.
You didn't have them flashing loud enough the other day, apparently.
Yeah, apparently not. That makes up my 2023 year in review. Any questions? Like I said, that will be presented at county board as well.
That's a well done presentation in my opinion, so good job.
Gave you the inside scoop, hot off the press.
Yeah, I think
Where
that'll
everybody else sees it.
a lot of information and but it was done in a way that is understandable, you know, and I think people that don't sit here every month will have a chance to absorb information correctly to be able to make good decisions, so.
No, I tried to, like I say, give a little bit, some detail, but not
Mhm,
the detail that gets lost.
mhm.
I could just give you our 2023 annual report that we have to give to the DOT, but it's all numbers.
Mhm.
Well, that'd be
It's very boring.
just invigorating.
So that's what was done years and years ago, but,
Okay,
um, that concludes that. We'll go into my, telematics, discussion, in shop software.
Right.
So what is telematics? So telematics is basically GPS, any type of communication with your vehicle fleet that we can kind of pull up at any given time, know where that truck is, what speed it's going. This also can help, with safety. Um, there's a lot of things it can do. If you recall, I recall it was last year, I think, we tested out a system that you plug in these trucks. It basically tells you where it is at all times, the speeds. It can also tell you your auger speed, how much salt they're laying down. The nice thing with the units that we tested is we can incorporate this with maintenance, our fleet maintenance. So if a check engine light comes on, it'll tell us what it is. Dan would have the ability to look it up and say, this is what the code is. Stop that truck right now, otherwise we're gonna have bigger issues. Or let's limp it back. It's only something that we can correct when we get back here. The nice thing with this also is we can incorporate a shop software program. So right now, we don't have anything besides writing it on a piece of paper to kind of a fleet maintenance program. So like I said, currently, we have to take the employee's word that the truck needs service. This would tell us when it needs a service. So if we could program each truck that says it needs every 5,000 miles or 1,000 hours or whatever it is, it would alert us. We can schedule it. We can do that. We can create work orders for our mechanics. We can put our inventory. We can do a wide range of everything with this. Just the sheer cost of this, these pieces of equipment. It'd be nice to have some type of unit where we can monitor it at all times. The goal is not to check where our employees are. That's not the goal. St. Croix initiated this last year on all their trucks and fleet. It has improved overall safety of employees driving accordingly. It has an alarm basically that if you go 5 miles an hour over, it'll start whistling at you. Very, very annoying. So employees accommodate. Obviously, this whole technology comes at a cost. The unit that we tested out would be approximately $30 a month per unit. So if you take that into consideration, about 50 units, I'm just throwing a number, you're looking at about $18,000 a year to implement this. That includes GPS units, telematics in each piece of the vehicle, as well as having shop software, fleet maintenance software. If we were to look at just doing a GPS unit in each vehicle, that would be about $20 a month. Then it's on top of that. This would be great, in my opinion, to try to organize our system. It would make Dan's life a lot easier. It would make our mechanics' lives a lot easier. Our mechanics have requested on multiple occasions to get something in place. The old pen and paper method and taking words and doing this. It's kind of a thing of the past. We kind of got to get with the times. But yes, it does come with a cost. We can also incorporate pre-trip inspections for the employees, so the employees would do it right on their phone. Basically, this would be incorporated in this, so they can say that the tire pressure is low, or, and it'll basically alert Dan or whomever, myself, it'll alert the mechanics that this needs to be fixed. It's a great tool. Like I said, I'm looking at exploring this option in 2025. I did budget for it in 2025 to start the process. That doesn't mean obviously it will take place. Obviously, depending upon if the budget is approved. But like I said, I just wanted you to be aware that it's something that I'd like to go towards, just to have some type of fleet maintenance system.
So is this something we can start out on 20, 30 trucks? We'll start with the state ones.
I do not want to dive into it right away. I don't want to say, hey, we're gonna put every piece of equipment.
But I mean,
In particular, the big trucks. That and maybe like our pickup trucks and stuff like that, the common stuff that is used every day.
Mhm.
so I mean, obviously it'd be less money if we started with the 10 state ones to start with. I mean,
Oh, absolutely.
start putting them on, it'd be that much this year and then next year, or in 20.
So currently our DOT trucks, the ones that we utilize for the state, have telematics on.
Okay,
So the DOT requires us to basically have it installed, and that's where that winter readiness comes
Sure,
into it.
yep.
So every truck that is built that we utilize on the state has that in.
but we still have to pay the extra, right? Or is that like, you still have to pay the 30 or 50?
So is that?
If we were to go with a different company, so currently it's Precise. So Precise is the company that the DOT has contracted with.
Okay,
So
So I guess
these other units, this Precise unit doesn't necessarily have all the bells and whistles. It tells you where it is, tells you the ground speed, tells you that stuff. But it doesn't have the ability currently that I'm aware of. Like I said, we can research all this.
Done.
That we can go above and beyond it.
Sure.
Like I said, to have a fleet maintenance software program that
That's your-
incorporates with it.
what they have just kind of a minimum code what the state requires.
Yes.
But so if we put our own on there, that would be in addition to.
It would be in addition
Replace.
to,
Okay,
the Wisconsin County Highway Association is pushing that we have the ability to put whatever we want on these trucks, and get reimbursed for it. So we are in the process of pushing for that, not necessarily having percentage units.
Sure.
So that is the goal. Is it gonna happen overnight? Probably not. But if this is something we implement, maybe we just implement it on the county trucks, big trucks for now. And keep the Precise units on the state trucks, and then once that kind of gets
Mhm.
put in place, then we can go down that path, but. Like I said, I just wanted to make it known to the committee that this is something that my goal to try to get towards at some point in time. To get into the 21st century where we have something in place,
So,
So with the units that the state's mandated, you know, that already has some of the capabilities. Obviously, just hearing what you said, it doesn't cover kind of what I think we're ultimately looking for, maintenance type records on them, you know. I guess I'd be curious to know what if it could be added to those trucks at a less cost, you know, like, you know, if we're already if it's $30 per unit. Um. And we're at whatever the state system is, but precise is $15. Is it 15 more or is it 10 more to put that on those trucks? Because I get the fact that the state's mandated it, but we still want to have maintenance records and those kinds of things on those trucks that,
Right.
that's missing right now. We're still having to paper and pen that part of the program, and then, I guess my other question or comment is with Precise already being on board on some of the units, does that mean that the software is in place that can run the program? I mean, I'm assuming it all goes back to a computer somewhere, or how do you monitor the speed or where the truck is, the location? I know it's GPS, but is it through a computer program? And
Correct.
if so, usually is that a built-in cost of why it's $30 a month, or is that another cost on top of it?
Can I explain that a little bit? We did research Precise and we researched Whip Around, but that was what we tried out, Whip Around. Precise is pretty much tailored to the DOT for just snow information.
Yeah.
And not maintenance information.
Right.
There's really virtually nothing, and because that's what we were looking when we researched it, to see if we could go with Precise. And if they could give us the information that we're looking for. And they couldn't. I mean, at that period in time.
And that's not to say they can't.
In the venture, yeah,
But-
right, but at that time they couldn't. So then we looked at the Whip Around program, which was more of a maintenance-based program, and that tells you everything. And it alerts you when it needs an oil change, it alerts you when a check engine light comes on. I mean, it's a total maintenance program. And along with the pre-check inspections, which was really good, we had 4 of our guys that agreed to do it. They had the smartphones. And they loved it. They get in the truck in the morning, they do their pre-trip, it goes through it. And the minute they hit send, it hits my desk. It's like that. So there's no loss of information between the two. Like if you write it down and talk to this guy and that guy, whatever, it's there, and it's documented, which is a big thing, it's documented, especially nowadays, the way things go with it, documentation and everything, if something happens. Precise will show us where the truck is in the mile per hour. We have the capability to let us put it on, a few of us have it on our computers. And we could bring up any truck we want, and it'll tell you the road speed of the truck and tell you the air and road temp and how much salt they're putting down, the plows up and down, all that kind of stuff. But as far as it goes to maintenance part of it, it doesn't. There's really nothing there. And with this here, that's what we're looking for, is more of a maintenance type, safety type feature. I mean, there's a lot of safety in it too, when you start talking pre-trip and, something's wrong with the truck, and it could save a lot of money. I mean, if we blow a turbo boost hose on one of our trucks and they decide to drive it in, that plugs up the DPF, and then you could be looking at $5,000 to replace the DPF. So it doesn't take long to recoup, those unforeseen costs, and I know, like, I talked to the shop foreman in St. Croix, and they look at it as if they save one engine a year, that pays for the system.
Yeah. Well, that was gonna be my question. What kind of maintenance costs have to be incurred to pay for itself?
Yeah, parts are so expensive right now.
Yeah.
It just doesn't take much,
Well, and then there's lost time too, right? Because they're hard to get and stuff. So lost time costs money too, right?
Right. So, right. And a lot of these too, you can incorporate cameras if you want to in the future. Some of them are doing that, the forward case, facing camera. Then you have proof in an accident or anything, it helps. All that kind of stuff helps, and it allows you to do that.
So if we switch to this system, the state would recognize that though. We'd have to have that system.
As of right now, no. They do not reimburse for the additional system outside of Precise. That's not to say it won't change. Like I said, the Wisconsin County Highway Association is trying to get to that point to be able to put whatever unit you want on these trucks, not necessarily Precise.
As long as it meets their standards. I mean, I don't
Yes.
see what it'd be a problem eventually. I mean, it just takes time to get through.
you know, and it's kind of.
Yeah, like I said, they have a contract with the DOT. They can bring up every truck in the state of Wisconsin.
Mhm.
And monitor where it is, what it's doing, yada, yada, yada.
Well, my only concern was like, yeah, I would be in favor of trying it on 10, 15, whatever, all the dump trucks besides the state ones. But then if we do whip around and then all of a sudden they're like, well, no, Precise has or Precision has this option to do that, then it's like, are we gonna switch them back over? And that's going with two different companies and then being in limbo if they don't end up, that's would be my only concern. Otherwise, I would be in favor of saying, let's try it on, you know, X amount of trucks and see how it goes. And if they really like it, and if they think it really helps.
It is a really simple device. It's a small device that plugs into it and yeah, you know, and it's not like you have a lot of great big things you need to do or wire.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's just a little simple plug and play.
So the facilities fleet vehicles, they have these. So the system is called Geotab is the one that we test.
Mhm.
So facilities vehicles have those units. It basically you plug it in the
OB2.
yeah, and it tells you where it is at all times.
I mean, like, when you're done with the road, the temperature and all that stuff, I was like, I thought you had to run some sensors and stuff like that, I would assume.
That's part of what we have for the winter readiness program, the controllers that we buy. You know, with all the sensors that are on the truck for temperature, humidity, dew point, road temp, air temp, you know, and then the speed of the truck, the speed of the auger. I mean, there's so many things that are on there, leave the plows up and down and the DOT watches all that because then they know how many, you know, how much salt we're putting on the road, how many pounds per lane mile. Or how much brine we're putting on the road, gallons per lane mile. And they monitor all that, so then they can get all their information that, you know, and, which is good information, because every snowstorm is different. You know, but that's what that's tailored for. You know, it comes, actually, our controllers that we buy, from Force America, it has it incorporated right now. You know, and Precise and
Force.
yeah, Force are kind of tied together and state, and they've been together for a long time. You know, and it's been that way for probably over 10 years, you know, for sure, if not longer. But that's kind of what that's tailored for. You know, it's tailored more for snow or, you know, what the trucks are doing and not as the maintenance part of it. That's what we were looking more for is the maintenance part of it. It's,
And going back on that, like I said, our mechanics they've come from the private sector where they've come from a Kai's Chevy dealer. And they're so used to structure being, the computer in front of me is telling me this is what I gotta fix next, and all that. That is what they want. They have expressed that here, that we need to do something like that. And if we can incorporate it with a technology that will alert us when it needs to be maintained, an oil change, all that stuff. Instead of, like I said, the employee comes in, looks at the odometer, because it's such a revolving door with employees coming in each piece of equipment. One employee may look at it, next one won't, and then all of a sudden, well, we're 1,000 hours over on this piece of equipment. So, if we can make it simpler for everybody, I think in the long run, it will be a huge improvement. Even just with our overall cost to maintain this equipment, I think will improve. We can just get on a routine cycle. Awesome. So. Questions, concerns? Like I said, it's something I want to pursue next year in 2025, depending upon.
We don't need to do anything right now, just.
No, I just wanted you to be aware.
Sounds good. I mean, all that stuff that's the way it's going, with technology.
It is.
It's so much quicker and easier to keep track of things and bring up a report saying, hey, these are the 5 trucks we need oil changes in the next day or 2, whatever.
right.
Well, documentation's huge, so
Yeah.
if you look back, go, oh, this has got an oil change, so then when you get a warranty issue, it's like, well, we changed oil in it every 5,000.
Does that keep track of your expenses too, right? I mean, you can put that in there, so
Labor.
you could pull a report out and say, this is what this truck cost us.
In a lot of the maintenance stuff that we do, we keep track of it in chems, just.
Right.
There's no detail though.
Right.
So if mechanics don't have access to chems, so they can go into this system and say, what did mechanic A do last month on this truck?
Mhm.
Am I doing the same thing that he just did?
Right.
We'll know that. So.
Yep. No, I think that's,
And documentation.
nothing's cheap, so better to go some.
This day and age with lawyers and anything else, I mean,
Well,
and we can tell them that they said, well, your truck was here and did this, so we can look and say, well, no, it wasn't, you know, we can prove where it's at.
Right.
And everything else, so it's.
I'm guessing the other reason the DOT has it on there is accuracy for what their payback's gonna be with mileage and usage and,
I don't know how much they actually monitor it.
but it's a way they could if all of a sudden numbers
Yeah,
got
if there's a
gaudy.
question involved,
Yeah.
they can go back and check.
Numbers got gaudy, you'd be like, wait a second, we go back and look at this. Yeah, geez, it actually was, right, you know, or whatever.
But the system's only as good as what goes through it. So I mean, obviously it can sense that the auger's spinning, but no material might be coming out.
Right.
So
Right.
it may look like we're putting down 100 tons of material, but it's not.
so what's the cost per vehicle for initial cost?
That was it right there.
It's a per month cost. So at any
You don't
time,
have-
we could basically say, we don't want this anymore.
Then you walk.
Oh, you don't have.
I think the devices are $20.
Yeah,
The
you do.
the device is $20 itself
That's
per
not
month,
expensive.
but if we want to add on to it's another $10.
It was an upfront cost for the devices of like $20, but I think they included it if you
Yes.
did 12 months of.
Okay,
Yeah.
So it's very minimal.
And that was with a particular unit that we tested.
Mhm.
That's not to say they all,
Yeah.
there's other ones out there too, so.
Sounds good. All right, E.
Okay, I'm gonna have Dan help out with this one. I don't have it on a slide or anything, or it wasn't not in your packet. But this is just Gary's. So in your large 11x17, I think you guys got 1117. Yeah, I said. Obviously, though, we discussed the potential. Morning, Gary. We discussed the potential, building addition, to the highway department. Possibly building an addition for storage, or equipment, as well as the possibility of renovating the existing building. So at that last meeting, I think it was 2 months ago, was requested on what would the borrowing look like if we were to borrow, worst case scenario, based on what, Cedar Corp presented as an estimated cost. So what's in front of you is kind of what our current debt is countywide, what we're paying annually, and what would happen if we would incorporate borrowing for a building, as well as, I believe, borrowing $3 million that we are currently looking at or forecasting for highway purposes.
So I'm sure everybody was very in tune with what I presented at the county board a couple of months ago. And that was really, as we talked about, trying to maintain that debt service value at $5.3 million. So that's really this column over to the right, that combined debt service number. That is the debt service amount that is essentially levied. So this is the number that impacts taxes. So as we asked PMA to do, so they are our municipal advisor. So that's the group that we work with in order to do all of our borrowing. So what would it look like if we maintain borrowing $3 million ongoing and we wanted to do a highway project? Where does that fit in from a time standpoint as other debts coming off? And then we also have the renovation of this building. So that's what this is demonstrating. This is all kind of futuristic and it can change all of that. And I think one of the big things to just point out, and I talked about it a little bit the last time, is it is not a loan. it works a little bit different, so you can see how some of the amounts that we pay on an annual basis, they move all around, and that's so that we can try and maintain that 5.3 million over on the right side. So you see the 3 million in 2025, if that is approved next week. And then the 3 million in 2026. And then we're also then, so this is then as the 11.6, this was the most expensive version of the highway shop number. Is that 11.6. And then there's also still that $3 million in 2027. So those two columns are there. Then there's another 3 million in 2028. And then we were looking at that renovation happening in 2029. So as you look at that, a borrow in 2027, that building's probably not really used until like 2028. So that's when we would get some things in there in order to free up that space in 2029 in order to start the renovation of this building. So that's kind of what I wanted to show you. And I know you had asked at the county board as I was doing that, what does it look like if we do this? This is what it looks like. So yeah, so that is it's a 20-year borrow. So you can see those 3 million are 10-year ones, but as we look at the highway shops are 20-year borrows.
So that 3 million that we borrow every year for like road projects, is that separated from the 3 million up here then, or?
That these 3 million are those road project 3 millions.
Okay,
So you'll see there's two of them here that say highway, that those are the two building
okay,
renovations. The 3 million ones are the,
The geo promissory notes are,
so that's a general obligation promissory note. That's the fancy term that they use, the general obligation bonds.
So I mean, if you look in 2027, there would be the borrow for the highway building plus an additional $3 million for road projects. So you're separated in those two columns.
And obviously, these are all things that are optional over time. And that's something as you go from year to year, if we don't borrow, we shuffle everything so that we can maintain those numbers over time.
I guess what this shows is it would maintain the same level of debt that we're currently paying today, correct?
Paying off.
Paying off.
Paying off. Yep, yep. And you do see that start to tail off if you look over in that far column in like 2036, and that's because that $3 million projection ends here at 2029. If you were to do 3 million in 2030, those numbers would continue to
Tails off because we're back down to it.
we don't
25-year cycle or what?
well, so as they do their math, they stopped borrowing 3 million on an annual basis in 2029. So this one that is demonstrated here is the last one that is reflected on the right. So if we were to do another 3 million in 2030, all of those numbers outside of that box would start changing.
Sure.
It's hard to perpetually.
Yeah.
We're getting
No, I get it.
we're getting really far into the future.
Yep.
But important to look at. And then as we look and I talked before, we put together that really big spreadsheet about just maintenance that needs to be done in general. Some of them on highway shops, some of them on other highway buildings. We're talking about that geothermal solar project, which is the HVAC in the judicial center. Outside of that, in kind of this window that we're looking at here, we don't see countywide any large purchases that would be outside of the typical capital improvement project. Big ideas. Even some of the highway shop work, I think we can fit into. That 3 million is mainly highway, but we also throw capital projects in there as well and just kind of balance that. So, part of that 3 million might be a new garage door or something.
Yeah, right.
So how would that solar geothermal project affect this?
So that isn't reflected here because it doesn't impact the $5.3 million. No, it's because the Solo Geo project is essentially taking the money that is right now being paid to Excel.
Okay.
And we're taking that savings and putting
They're
that
guaranteed.
as a guarantee on that. So,
Okay.
so that's where it isn't, as much as it is.
It is.
Kind of this, but it isn't. It doesn't
is.
factor into that. So that $5.3 million is kind of that unlimited part of the levy. So we are allowed to increase our levy to pay back our debt obligations. That is not limited by state statute. So as we borrow that money for the solar project, we're not going to use that debt service money to raise the levy.
Sure.
So,
So does that money, that solar net, does that get paid, like once it's all done?
Mhm.
Do we get paid every year, like so much till it's all done, or how's that work?
so too far off the agenda, but I think I'm gonna determine that it fits in here. So the way the solar will essentially get paid off, I actually have a printout of what this one looks like for that. So the first thing that'll happen with the solar project is we would get, as soon as the project is built, we would get $3.4 million from the federal government for building for doing a solar, an energy savings project. So it was part of the Inflation Reduction Act. So that's one of the big things that makes that entire project possible. Because if it wasn't for that $3 million, it wouldn't work. So they'll give us that money and we'll actually hold on to that money. And then our debt payments will start to come out. So let's just say we have to pay $600,000 a year on that debt payment for that solar. What we're looking at is in year one, we're going to save about $300,000 or $400,000 in what we currently pay Excel Energy for power, because we're producing our own power with those solar. So that $300,000 that has typically been budgeted to pay Excel will be used to pay that debt back. And then we'll take another $300,000 out of that 3 million. And that's how it becomes a net zero kind of cost over time.
So you could save that 3 million and stretch it out.
Yeah,
Okay.
we save that in an account and we'll kind of stretch that out. As you get further and further into the future, that $3 million that we would have, or that $300,000 that we saved in electricity 10 years from now, that would actually be about $500,000 because the cost of electricity is continuing to go up. So you're taking a little bit less of that 3 million as time goes on. And the projections then look at 20 years down the line, we're essentially saving enough in energy that it's paying that. And then when we hit year 21, then all of that energy savings money goes straight back into
Profit.
Well,
Kind
it
of.
goes back into other things.
Yes.
It becomes available. It
Yes.
becomes disposable income.
Profit, usable money.
So. And I'll throw that into the packet for the funding board meeting. I have kind of a breakdown of everything is a projection at this point.
That'd be beneficial.
So just to see how that might kind of
Easily answer questions. That way.
spread. So, yeah, it can cause confusion too. But,
But I mean, if a question arises, it's like, oh, here, it's right here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Makes sense, that one. I didn't understand that before.
to be clear, I didn't understand it until we asked PMA, said, hey, can you do this? And I'm like, oh, yeah, sure.
Now, this information is only gonna be presented here, correct? Or is it?
This is purely
Just highway.
because this whole borrow, this is not a part of anything other than the county board. This isn't something that's happening. This committee is looking at, do we want to push forward on a highway project? It is possible. So if you look at it from that financial standpoint, this is what it would look like.
Mhm.
If you don't do that, and other things happen. Or
Oh.
you don't have to pick the greatest highway shop, which is what is affected here.
No, I appreciate that immensely, that,
Yeah.
because that's what I wanted to see, is how that gets broke down and make more sense of it, because at the end of the day, it's like, well,
How much that can affect?
yeah, and I obviously it'd change a little bit if we went a little less, but I feel like if we're spending it, might as well do what we actually need rather than compromising right off the bat.
And just so you're aware, obviously, these numbers could change in 2027. We don't know what the cost is.
Right.
2029,
Should be more.
that 4.6 could be 5 million. We don't know. So,
Right.
or it could be less.
Plus, the
Depending on what we
construction's
do.
gonna go down, right?
Hope so.
Yeah.
No, it's over.
First time ever.
Hold your breath for that one. All right. Good presentation of that. Makes it more understandable.
Yes.
That's good, very good, you know?
Thank you. Good, Stan.
Yeah, thanks, Dan.
All right.
I would think, on the financials.
Sure.
So I don't have anything up. I don't know why that's frozen on the TV, but, I didn't have a slide, so it's just in your packet. My apologies, Gary, I didn't make a copy for you. So, I didn't think you were gonna be here. I know you had
Well, a short meeting, I'm going right by it anyhow.
Yeah, yeah.
And I thought
I
I
give
could
you
get
mine,
here.
but I don't have another one. You have to read over Joe's, shoulder there.
Yeah.
But in our financials, so, as you can see, if you get to that page at one point in time there, we are sitting pretty good, for the 2024 financial budget. I will always point out though, some of our expenses. So on page 5 of 5, this is our road and bridge fund, that we always talk about. This is basically county construction and county maintenance exclusively. So those costs, so county winter maintenance, we had budgeted $2 million. We've only spent 400,000. So there's a big chunk of change right there. Obviously that goes till the end of the year, so we still have to get through November and December. That doesn't mean something else. Maybe if we're not doing winter plowing, we're gonna be doing other maintenance work. So our county maintenance costs may go up versus our county winter maintenance. So, as you can see, we're sitting good there. We had budgeted 4.1 and, we've only spent 2.7 of winter or regular maintenance. So, all in all, like I said, it's a good thing to be in a budget surplus, not go the other way.
Saving money for a new show.
There we go. How about put towards our roads? We'll do that.
Just joking. Just kidding.
But no, like I said, that's, the financials for through the end of September. We still got October yet not included in this cost, so.
Well, so you get like a 6 to 8 inch snowfall, what does that actually cost the county? Cause it's big enough that you gotta go plow it, but yet it's not
It
really.
depends on how long it takes to get that 6 to 8 inches. We could be all day. If it happens overnight and we clean it up in the morning, I would say on average, just say 50,000 to 100,000 just to do a cleanup. Potentially, depending on how bad it is.
It's a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or
Yes.
Thursday.
I was gonna say weekend,
If it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it costs more.
I mean, it just does.
That's just because of the labor
That's
cost.
what I mean, it just does. So. All right.
That concludes my, long staff report.
Thanks for keeping that long.
My fault.
It wasn't Dan. Dan actually was really quick this time.
Oh, you.
Number 7, highway vouchers. Need a motion?
Make a motion.
One second. Motion made second. Any discussion, any questions on any of those? Any questions? Are we good? All right, all in favor, approving?
Aye.
Any opposed? B, quad axle lease purchase trade-in truck.
So, obviously last month we presented, the options that we have regarding our quad axle. Our current fleet of quad axles that we have, so we have 5 of those, they're 2020 models. This is a lease that we are currently doing with these 5 trucks. So at any given time, if we didn't want these, we didn't pay the payment or we didn't want the trucks, they come and get them basically, and we're on the hook, for what we paid or lost on our trade-in from previous. So we have that option to do that again in 2025, where we could continue the lease, with 5 new models. The cost of these trucks has gone up, obviously, in the last 5 years. The cost of a brand new quad axle, if we want the particular Allison transmission, is $242,000 for each one of these trucks. What International has given us for a potential trade-in value is, 300,000. 0.5. Right, well, that was the original trade-in. No, it'd be, 575 for our new truck, or our current fleet. So if we continue doing that for the next 5 years, basically our payments would be roughly the same as what they are currently. Would be right around that 100,000. We currently are paying $100,000 a year, to lease these. It's kind of a weird lease. I will say we're leasing it, but we own them. So it's how to describe it. We are on the title. The bank is basically the title, but we are the title, so we get reimbursed by the DOT. It's kind of a weird system. So, our other option is we basically do nothing. We keep the 5 quads that we have. We would have to pay our last balloon payment in 2025, which is $155,823. We would be free and clear of our lease payments, and we would not have to pay that additional $100,000 every year going forward. Current repair costs, I had Joy basically present what we put into each one of these trucks. I believe the parts, we put in $77,000 worth of parts on these trucks, and that's common stuff. Like, when I say parts, it could be fuel filters, it could be oil filters, it could be brakes, tires,
Tires are
stuff.
Tires are the big part of it,
Yeah, I would think so.
Which is actually a very, very good cost. We think it's a lot of money, but yes, this is very,
They
very
got 100,000.
cost
They got
effective for the
100,000
5 quad.
You replace tires.
Yeah, twice,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And oil filters aren't cheap, they're upwards of $100, and I mean, that costs probably $500 for the oil change, by the time you figure the oil and all the filters and stuff.
So a lot of that parts is just maintenance on this.
Yeah. It's
Yes.
just nothing, and they were all under warranty.
And they were under warranty.
But we really didn't have any major.
So I don't know if this is the right time for questions or not, but
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes.
so my question is, sorry, proposed payments, looking 2025 to 2029, comparative to 2020 to 2024, look the same. Okay, we've talked about that. The balloon payment, if we bought them next time around, it looks like it would be $3,000 less than what it would be in 2025. If we continue on. So my question is, with your proposed budgets, yearly proposed budgets out into the future, was this, I'm guessing, knowing you, that this was in part of that budget, that you budgeted this 100,000?
In 2025, I budgeted the balloon payment of that $155,000.
Okay.
to basically pay off the lease and keep the trucks. That is what I budgeted for because I don't know what the numbers were if we were to continue a different lease. I have no idea what those numbers were back when
When you were
we
doing,
started the whole budget process, which is a year process.
not, you can say, you can decline to comment on my next question, you know, but now that you see these numbers, okay, and understand what the balloon payment would be to buy them right now, you know, do you have a feeling one way or the other? Preference? And again, you're,
My preference is we would do option 2 to keep the trucks and not continue a lease. That's the one big reason is I think it could be advantage to lease it, but the problem we have too is we would request a Allison transmission. They can't get us an Allison transmission. So then we're in a predicament is, okay, what do we do with these 5 trucks? Are they gonna come and get them whenever they want and we have no 5 trucks? It's kind of a guess of what would happen. We may not even get a truck next year. If we've specified that we want an Allison transmission. All of our trucks here have an Allison transmission. They're trying to sell us what we believe is a lesser grade transmission. Because they can get it, because they make them themselves, type of thing.
And they don't work as well. I mean,
I-
as far as,
We like Dan and I were discussing, we think longevity, we've never had problems with Allison transmissions. Why would we switch?
well,
With an unknown that's only been around for 3 years and what,
that
they
true,
have.
but also I'm saying, I don't think they operate as well as
Correct.
Allison. So I don't think they're. I don't think they're as good a fit, to be honest with you, if they're driving it.
We had 0 issues with Allison, as long as we don't run it out of the.
Yeah, that's hard.
Absolutely, and they're in every truck we've got.
I would also,
it's like the old power glide. You can't be, you just can't, yeah.
No,
the original lease that was done 5 years ago was done at a time that the highway budget was, there was not the budget available to be able to purchase outright.
Yeah, I don't think
So
these are-
lease was done. And we've done a lot of work over the past few years since Dustin came in to bring the highway budget back to a more healthy level, and I think we'll be at that at the end of this year.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah, I just,
purchasing outright is going to be enough.
So if we just buy that, can we order 5 new ones with the Allison? And if it's a year or 2 before we can get them, that's the way it is, and just trade one out in the year.
that's the option we have as well. I mean,
Yeah, I like that.
Price of it, well, and then we can just trade one in as it comes in and it gets built, trade that in type thing, or
Yeah.
just sell these one at a time, is there? I mean, try and get them 5 as soon as we can, but if they can't get them all to us.
correct.
and there's an option there, to put on Wisconsin surplus and put it out front, you know, when you get rid of that dealer, you know, making extra money on it.
We'll try it out first one and see how it goes, and
These trucks are still in great shape.
Yeah.
Well,
that's, I'm gonna say
they're
they're
not even 5 years old yet. They won't be 5 years old till the spring, and then, and we actually put them into service in August of 2020. I looked it up here. These trucks still have warranty on them, according to the, and I called them again to double check on it. An 8 of 26, they're still got full warranty on the engines and emissions yet, so you still have almost 3 years. Yeah, that they're still under warranty without purchasing another warranty.
Yeah, and if we can, like, I like
I definitely, that's the way.
like Dustin's idea is to, you know, if we can put together a plan, then this group or whoever, you and propose and, but that 2 years from now or 1 year from now, we start looking at one at a time, 2 the next year, 1 the next, 1 the next, and then we're back to our fleet, but we've taken care of it without, yeah.
Well, I mean,
Don't borrow my money.
you can order 5 of them, it's just a matter of, like, they're probably not gonna get 5 of them at one time, so as they trickle in, they'll be fairly close together, but we just pay them as they come in and put the other ones for sale, and they're staggered a little bit, and I think that worked good. And from what I saw on that engine, I know I was a salesman, but after driving it and seeing everything on there, I thought the engine looked decent. I just would prefer that Allison as well. I would definitely agree with that, so. That's what I would say is to,
So is this
divide these, pay these off, and
And I think it's a better situation for the county if we would to. If we proceed with trying to sell these trucks outright on our own, to give everybody an opportunity to bid on these trucks. Like I said, we're with International, I applaud International, they helped us out when we needed these trucks. It's just, is it the proper thing to do is say, we're going with International again? You're
We've had no
So like
problem
I said, it's not really
with the,
bid out.
with warranty then for those 5 years. We've had no problem that they would have to do any kind of repair.
I mean, we've had warranty work done on them.
Okay,
Typically emissions stuff is common for every vehicle.
because we had to get like one more year, right? Went from 5 years to 6 years now for warranty on that, you know? But how long would you keep these trucks before you start selling like one off at a time?
So basically what we get paid for our DOT rates, our hourly rates, it's typically a 10-year lifespan for these trucks. That's what it's based on. So what the state's theoretically saying is that truck has very, very little value after 10 years. So that's when you should kind of think about rolling out for different trucks or whatever. I'm not saying we keep them till 10 years. I'm just saying they have a lot of life in them yet.
Yeah.
That's why I'm suggesting, like I said, this is my suggestion is we pay the balloon payment for 2025, that 155 approximately, and we're free and clear from it. And
So do we need a motion to go with like option 1 then, or option 2? Is that what we need to do today?
I'll make a motion to go with option 1.
second that.
I think.
so option 1 is just basically,
To make sure we know we had to do.
just to emphasize, option 1 is to keep the 5 trucks, pay your balloon payment.
Right.
Right, yeah, but I mean, just going forward, just so everybody knows where I sit. I think sooner than later that we get some new ones on order with the Allison, so we get in line, because I know they're having trouble getting them, but at least if they know we want them, it might be a year or two. I have no idea. I don't wanna wait a year or two and then be in, 4 years. I would like to get on that, and we can put 1 or 2 on Wisconsin surplus and maybe trade 3 in, right? I mean, we could do that.
What we'll have to do is Dan and I, and we'll have to sit down and review our equipment needs in general. We have a lot of loaders that need to get replaced. There's a lot of need. So that we'll have to
Check out
look
the
at.
priority list, basically, and what we actually do,
Yeah.
because these quads are basically good. If we need a loader, more importantly, I mean,
We
we
need-
put that priority list together, I guess is what
Yeah,
we're.
there's a lot better places that we could put the money than in 5 quads, in my opinion.
Yeah.
They're still good trucks yet. And even if we do keep them longer, there is another extended warranty that you told me about. It's 2 years and 250,000 miles. So that would push you into the 10 years,
Mhm.
and that's about 9,000 per truck. So that's another option for that. And that's your after treatment and your engine and everything. So you could extend that warranty, all the way out to 10 years if you so desire. You know.
Well, at the point you look at what a new one is gonna cost and what we can get for these as well, like trying to find that optimum time to sell them, because after 10 years, is it only gonna go down to 90,000 or is it gonna go to 50?
Right.
You know what I'm saying, this,
But then also you're saving 20,000 a year per truck because you're not making them either too.
Right.
So you'd have to add that into the truck,
Mhm.
but it's, I don't know, is it gonna depreciate that much?
Right.
Too, so it's kind of a, and like Dustin said, we got old single axles out there, 5 of them on our county roads, too, and that's something we're gonna think about in the future.
I was gonna say some of our plow trucks need to be replaced.
Yeah,
Quicker than these squads.
And maybe you wanna do something like what a lot of companies are doing, they're incorporating, the plow truck in the quad, where they're, changing pushers and, then they don't have the luxury of having 5 quads sitting here, just for a haul truck. I mean, it's gonna be tough, it's going up so much. But that's just my opinion.
Like you said, I like the option one, and like you say, address this priority list and stuff next summer, next fall, someplace where we,
Yeah,
what we need for plow trucks, what we need for equipment, and then we can make some decisions at that time, so.
Yeah, and like.
But option one gives us that option.
In 2025, that's what was budgeted in the CIP was to pay the local pay.
So, any other discussion? If not, all in favor of option one?
Right?
Any opposed? Motion passes. C, purchase salt brine wedge tanks. Truck 210, 211.
Somewhere in your packet here. The universal quote. So the two trucks that we're currently working on. If you recall from previous, the two trucks that we received last year that are up and running, we put a wedge tank. They're called wedge tanks. It's a plastic tank that you put in the back of the truck bed, dump box. Which has a capacity of about 1,000 gallons, which the DOT reimburses us for, where we can apply rock salt and we can apply liquid brine all at the same time or vice versa, one at a time. Now you guys, I think, saw some of you, I don't think Dustin was here, but last year we had that truck out here that we demonstrated how it works. So what we're looking at trying to do is take these next two trucks and purchase wedge tanks for these next two trucks. The mild winter that we had last year, we saw a huge reduction in salt from that truck that had the wedge tank in. Being able to put this brine where we can incorporate it into the rock salt where it sticks on the road instead of what they always say, bounce and scatter. So scatter, they put it on the road and it bounces off into the ditches. When you wet the material, it stays on the road, it packs quicker. You have the ability to use a cheaper solution of water and salt mixture versus rock salt, which you saw just over $100 a ton on a truck. On a given snowstorm, uses, especially on the interstate, about 40, 50 tons on a given snowstorm. Non-interstates usually right around that 25, 30 tons of rock salt. So if we can reduce that to 20%, whatever it is, 50%, whatever, it's a huge cost savings. Rock salt is $100 a ton versus salt brine is, don't quote me on this, just say right around that 15, 20 cents. I can't recall what it is exactly, but a gallon to make.
So since you've been here, how much has the salt gone up? Like you first started compared,
I don't know exactly what it is, but I would say it's double. When I first started here, it was probably about $50.
Yeah.
$50 a ton.
Bucks wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, obviously everything, to mine it has cost, transport it up the barge up the Mississippi has increased, everything has. Transportation, labor, material, everything.
so where do we get our salt from then? Is it dumped off someplace on the?
St. Paul, so it comes up a barge, up the Mississippi and then the depot is at St. Paul and then they truck it from there.
Oh, they do the trucking then?
Yes. Yeah. So. Like I said, this would improve our, costs significantly. And increase our, sustainability by being able to put brine solutions down in quantity. The little 150 gallon tanks that we typically put on the back of our tailgates doesn't do anything. So,
and we get more revenue from the state for this, for adding them on there.
And for the tanks then, can they go like 2, 3 different times, like different trucks? Because they're mostly plastic, can you take them out and put them in like a brand new truck in?
the goal is to get 20 years out of those tanks. That's the goal. You do a 10-year life cycle on a plow truck.
And then,
Theoretically.
Ryan is so much, environmentally friendly. I mean, we just dump way too much salt on the roads. We're just killing our rivers and lakes and it's just, you know,
So it's just, need a motion.
I'll make a motion. Approve.
Yeah, motion made second, any other discussion on it? Otherwise, all in favor?
Alright,
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Who's the motion and
Oh.
approval on the first one?
Oh, on first,
We did approve.
I mean,
You made a motion on both?
Like second, the first one, you're doing with trucks or?
Yeah, the trucks. You made second.
okay, that's good, second.
Who did the second in this go around? Joe,
Here, go.
should be listening.
That's okay.
I was trying to find my paper.
You got it on your mind, first those.
Second phone and then.
Like Dan stayed in
Hasn't
here.
walked by my camera.
Number 8, considerations, county board resolution, OD, transfer to Springbrook.
Yeah, so in your packet, our corporation council put together, a resolution that will be presented to you first and then, go on to full county board in November 12th meeting. So that is the big reason why we pushed this meeting up is due to this resolution. I've talked to the DOT, I've talked to the town of Springbrook. They are on board with, taking this roadway over now that it has been completed. This would be a resolution on our part, on the county's part, that we would submit to the DOT showing that we are sending it, giving this road to the Springbrook. Springbrook will also have to have a resolution on their end as well, which I have provided them to their town board to review and take action on this month as well. Actually, in December is when they're gonna do theirs. The big reason why, obviously, as you can see, is that this road really didn't serve a purpose for the county. The roadway was realigned back in 2004. For the revolution, that's what it's telling me. It was done in 2004, was realigned, and for some reason, I don't know, I wasn't here why this wasn't abandoned at that time. But we still get funding for this particular stretch of roadway. So this is the point for the resolution to turn it over to the town of Springbrook, so they can maintain it going forward. And then they would receive the GTA, the gas, tax for this particular 0.56 miles stretch of holding easement. Any questions?
have they done any work on that yet at all, on that road E?
It's all done. So we
Oh, it's all done, okay.
pulverized, yeah. We pulverized, repaved, it's completed. The cost that we had was about $71,000 to complete it. On our end,
And you went like 3 inches or 2 inches?
2.5 inches thick per what the Springbrook's requirements
Okay.
are. But it turned out well. So they're happy with it.
Make a motion.
Okay.
All right.
Dustin made it. Joe second.
Don't wait for it, I guess.
Any other discussion? If not, all in favor?
Right.
Motion passes. Next meeting, December 11th.
If I don't change it.
If you
For
don't,
Randy.
any other questions before? If not, December 11th. Meeting adjourned. See you place next time.